All right, mathematicians, it's time to grab some paper and pencil. Let's do some practice together. Our first problem reads 96 divided by 6. So I'm going to break that 96 into its two digits, 9 and 6. And I'm going to put my divisor on the outside of the grid. So I'm going to list my multiples of 6. And if you don't have your multiples memorized, remember multiplication is just repeated addition. So we're just adding 6 over and over. 6 plus 6 is 12, 12 plus 6 is 18, 18 plus 6 is 24. And just keep adding that 6 over and over. Try to keep these as neat as I can. Then I'm going to write my steps for long division using the acronym DOES McDonald's sell cheeseburgers regularly. I'm going to divide, multiply, subtract, check, bring up, and repeat. So my first step is to divide. I'm going to see how many times I can divide 6 into 9. So I'm going to look at my multiples. And I'm going to try and get as close to 9 as I can without going over. So I can go in at least one time. But if I go 2 times, I go to 12, which is greater than 9. So I can't go in 2 times. So I'm going to put a 1 above the 9. Then I'm going to multiply. 1 times 6 will give me a product of 6. Then I'm going to subtract. 9 minus 6 is 3. My next step is to check, and this is very important. I want to make sure that this 3 is less than 6 before I bring it up. If it's not, it means that I need to go back and check my work. So because 3 is less than 6, I'm going to go ahead and take it up into the next box, and my new dividend is 36. So I'm now repeating my steps, but now instead of dividing into 9, I'm dividing into 36. So 6 divides into 36. Let's go to our multiples. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Then I'm going to multiply. 6 times 6 is 36. And subtract. 6 minus 6 is 0. 3 minus 3 is 0. So I have no remainder, nothing left to divide. My quotient is 16. Let's see if we're right. Awesome. Our next problem says 585 divided by 9. So I'm going to put my dividend inside the boxes, my divisor outside, and then I'm going to list my multiples. So again, I'm just adding 9 over and over. All right, now that I have my multiples, I'm going to go ahead and write my steps for division using the acronym DOES McDonald's sell cheeseburgers regularly. So divide, multiply, subtract, check, bring up, and repeat. So I'm going to start with division. How many times can 9 divide into 5? So when I'm looking at my list of multiples, I want to try and get as close to 5 as I can without going over. While looking at my list of multiples, my very first multiple is 9, which is already bigger than 5. So that means I can't divide 9 into 5, so I'm going to put a 0 in my quotient. Then I'm going to multiply. 0 times 9 is 0. Next, I'm going to subtract. 5 minus 0 is 5. Then I'm going to check. Is this difference, this remainder, is it less than my divisor? If it is, I can go ahead and carry it up to the next step. If not, I need to go back and see if I missed a multiple. So it is smaller, so I'm going to go ahead and bring that up to the next box. And now I need to see how many times can 9 divide into 58. So we'll go to our multiples. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. 6 times 9 is 54. 8 minus 4 is 4. 5 minus 5 is 0. And I'm going to check, is 4 smaller than 9? It is. So I'm going to go ahead and bring it up. And now I get to see how many times 9 divides into 45. 45 is my new dividend. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 times. 9 times 5 is 45. 5 minus 5 is 0. 4 minus 4 is 0. I have no remainder, nothing left to divide, making my quotient 65. Let's see if we're right. Great job. All right, our last problem is a 4-digit by 1-digit, so 8,520, and we're dividing by 8. So I'm going to try and squeeze my 8s in over here, my multiples of 8. So remember, I'm just adding 8 over and over again. And then I'm going to write my steps for division. Try not to get in the way of my problem. Does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers regularly? Divide, multiply, subtract, check, bring up, and repeat. So I'm going to start with dividing. I'm going to divide 8 into 8. So when I look at my list of multiples, I want to find something that's as close to 8 as I can get without going over. Well, I can divide it exactly 1 time because my first multiple is actually 8. And then I'm going to multiply. 8 times 1 is 8. Then I'm going to subtract. 8 minus 8 is 0. Then I'm going to check, is 0 smaller than 8? If it is, I'm going to go ahead and bring it up to the next box. And my new dividend is 5. So how many times can 8 divide into 5? If I look at my list of multiples, 8 is already bigger than 5, which means I cannot divide 8 into 5. So I'm going to put a 0 in my quotient. I cannot leave that space blank. I have to put a 0 there. Then I'm going to multiply. 0 times 8 is 0. Then I'm going to subtract. 5 minus 0 is 5. Check. Is 5 less than 8? Yes. Bring up the 5. My new dividend is 52. Now I'm dividing 8 into 52. Let's go check our multiples. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. If I go 7 times, I go over 52. So 48 is going to be the closest we're going to get, which is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th multiple. 6 times 8 is 48. 2 minus 8, I can't do that. I'll have to borrow. Make that a 12. 12 minus 8 is 4. 4 minus 4 is 0. Is 4 less than 8? It is. I'll go ahead and bring it up to the next box. My new dividend is 40. So how many times can 8 divide into 40? Let's go check our multiples. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. 5 times 8 is 40. 0 minus 0 is 0. 4 minus 4 is 0. I have no remainder. I have nothing left to divide, making my quotient 1065. Let's see if we're right. Great job.